Brothers and sisters, it's a pleasure to be here in front of you and to talk to you about Mr. Muhammad and his program, Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and his program for Black people, and his desire and his prayer that we will be free. And it's important that I talk with you about it when I say Mr. Muhammad. It's very important because, thank you, brother. It's very important because you have to understand that we, after losing a great soldier, two great soldiers of our recent date. Now, of course, in losing Minister Malcolm and also the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad himself, we realized that we may have, because it's such a strong teaching, you may have remnants of Mr. Muhammad's teaching, remnants of his teaching. We know we have direct teaching, an advanced teaching from the Most Honorable Silas Muhammad, but from Minister Farrakhan, this isn't Muhammad's teaching. And I say that because he's the most polarized Muslim leader that we have here in America, Black Muslim leader. And it's important for us to say Black Muslim leader. This is very, very important because the fact that we're Black under that style of leadership benefits us to a great degree, And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad has a message to the Black man, a message to his Black people. And you and I, brothers and sisters, are entertaining that tonight. We'll be talking about Muhammad's message to Black people. We've talked about Farrakhan's message to Black people. We've talked about other messengers, quote unquote, such as Al Sharpton, their message to Black people. Very, very rarely talk about Mr. Muhammad's message to Black people. And that is the key to our salvation. Because before him, no one, absolutely no one has come with this type of teaching and training that would deliver us. And you and I have to be willing to talk about what his message gave, talk about his program, talk about what it was meant to be. And as you can see, we have deviated, have been made to deviate, not necessarily Muslims have been made to deviate, but also the American Black man have been made to deviate from teachers that have not been teaching accurately, and all of the ones that are polarized. See, and the cheapest of them is Minister Farrakhan, have not been teaching the Nation of Islam. They have not been teaching the teachings correctly, and they've been making allowances of themselves, which has brought us back some 40, 50, 60, 70 years of what we would have psychologically and sociologically advanced. And this is very important for us to know. So this is why it's important to get the teachings of the Honorable Silas Muhammad, who will teach you the lessons directly as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad deemed them to be taught. And brothers and sisters, when we think and as we look around the world today, we cannot help but to expect a discipline from at least the Nation of Islam, because as you know, many other Black organizations are falling by the wayside. And it is the reason why we fight so hard, brothers and sisters, to get instructional learning. You know what I mean, brothers and sisters? I mean, the waters in the religious temples have nearly dried up from compromisers and cutthroats and turncoats who have stood in front of us other than our religious leaders. Not all have fallen, for God told Elijah, I have 20,000 that have not kneed or bowed down their knees to Baal. Isn't that right? I have 20,000, but nonetheless, brothers and sisters, we are at a juncture in our lives and in the teachings, well, we will have to go back to the basics, certainly, and stretch the foundations of what was taught so that brothers and sisters will be able to place their feet on solid ground, right? And on solid rock, because all other ground is sinking sand. Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? And so we have a job tonight. And it's very difficult. That's why I want you to walk with me. I want you to walk with me. I want you to help me on this lesson. But we have to understand what was the purpose of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad's teaching, and what was it supposed to carry out. Because it's important that we talk about that. It's important that we learn it. I talked all the time about the nation of Islam and what it was meant to be, and there'll be many people that will get upset. People would literally get upset, brothers and sisters. And first off, the first thing they wanted to do, very first thing they wanted to do, is be defenders of Louis Farrakhan. Automatically, it's a knee-jerk reaction because they already know that Farrakhan is not teaching the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I'm reminded of my mentor and leader, Dr. Khalid Muhammad, who was the national representative of Minister Farrakhan. And he had disposition with the Million Man March. Brothers and sisters, when the brothers started out in the Million Man March, it was such a challenge. This march, we didn't even understand what the inception was all about, although we knew it would be great, but we didn't understand why we would have to march at all and stand on monuments that Mr. Muhammad himself said could do us no good. And in the light that we try to support Louis Farrakhan in his Justice or Else campaign, justice never came, and people complained that there was nothing else left. The brothers and sisters, we have to go back to the basics, because we know the Muslims of the past would not have been investing themselves inside of these political charades, wouldn't have been investing themselves in these. And we would have understood under Muhammad's teaching, right, with careful mathematical observation, that the civil rights movement and any movement involving the federal government by black people could do us no good. Could mean nothing good for us, because it's no different than the slaves having their day on the porch of the plantation. And understand that he was standing on the Washington Monument, marching, as our brother told us, as Mr. Muhammad led him, in between the feet of two dead men, a dead man named Washington and a dead man named Lincoln. What was the foundation of Mr. Muhammad, brothers and sisters, and what did he want us to know is the question before us tonight. And how do we fulfill this foundation of getting back to where we were? Isn't that right? We've got to have within ourselves a revival and a resurrection of our own spirits, brothers and sisters. We've got to self-repair ourselves, and then after that, we've got to amplify the knowledge that was taught by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad out in the world. If we believe that there's one God and he has many messengers and Muhammad is his messenger too, then we will stretch out the teaching, the most powerful lesson that could be taught to black men in the teaching of Muhammad's message to the black man in America. Isn't that right? Because we have black brothers and sisters that have no direction. None whatsoever, brothers and sisters. And they become desensitized by the prison, desensitized by crime. They become desensitized by dangers within the black community, and there has to be an answer. Brothers and sisters, I believe that answer is with the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was born Elijah Roger Poole. That was his name. His father was a Baptist minister under the Organization for the National Baptist Convention, as it was organized by our brother in the faith as well, Dr. E.C. Morris. And this teaching, that was a type of Garveyite teaching. A type of Garveyite, I say that because the lesson of revolution was always being taught to the slave by the religious slave among them, or I should say the religious leader among them. So I want you to understand that we never divorced ourselves from God, nor did we divorce ourselves from the identification with God, which was our religious living, our religious speech, our moral outlook, and our spiritual, I should say, sanctification. And brothers and sisters, this was the example that was given to us, even by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as he was called in those earlier days by Elijah Robert Poole. He was still a holy man and a righteous man, an upright man. He was right and exact in his life. He was born October the 7th, 1897. And you have to understand, this is the reason why, for us, that October is a wonderful day, a holy day, a day of record, a day that bears record to the life of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. February the 25th, and this is for all black people. Notice I said all black people, Christian and Muslims. Christian and Muslim, because there's no difference in our faith. We bear witness that there's one God. There's no difference in our faith, that a good Muslim is a good Christian and a good Christian is a good Muslim. So on February the 25th, 1975, was the American day of ascension that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad had ascended from us to go on to glory, to rise in power. So his date of descension, October the 7th, 1897, which is considered the holy day, and the date of ascension, February the 25th, 1975. Now, we're not going to go into, on this teaching, we're not going to go into, excuse me, brothers and sisters, we're not going to go into how Mr. Muhammad died and what the causes were, because that's a primitive knowledge, primitive language. We say death is primitive. We know that we are sin, we rise. But what I want to talk about with you, brothers and sisters, is the black separatist movement of this African American religious leader. They say that he was American, but he was African American, an African American religious leader, right? He's African. He really wasn't American, right? Because none of us are American. We're African. We're African people. And if our brothers and sisters would fully understand that, if they will fully understand this particular information, important information. If they would only understand, then we would have a different outlook about who we are, though we be in this disposition, right? Or this dispensation, I should say, right? Because our dispensation in America is an era of slavery. That's what it is. It's an era of slavery. You and I, brothers and sisters, are in slavery here in America. That's what we're in. There's no getting by it. There's no getting around it. You and I, indeed, are slaves in this country. And it's important, the most important thing that we could understand, if we were willing to understand it, is that we'll never get out of slavery until we do something about it. It's something that we have to do. As black people, we have to do something to get out of slavery. But before that, we have to understand that there was a message being given. All we have to do is follow the message being given, and that message was given by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and authored by Master Fard Muhammad. And the understanding of that teaching is that we are slaves in America. We are oppressed people. And every oppressed person needed a message from God. We being godly people need a message from God. We didn't need a message from our slave master. He gave us his message. His message was to make us slaves. That's why it's foolish for brothers and sisters to be listening to that white man and be around him. It's foolish. The whole thing is very, very foolish. The entire thing. To be listening to that white man. We see that he's killing us. I had a brother tell me, yeah, the white man is bad, but he said, man, he said, somebody in my family married one of them, and they seem to be all right. I mean, I use the phrase, you don't mind me using it again, do you? Because I will if you'll let me. If you had 1,000,000 bees, you knew I was going there. And they say, hey, brother, I said, I know you got 1,000,000 bees or 1,000,000,000 bees, 1,000,000,000 bees following you, and you running, and I got on a bee outfit, you know, and you running, and I say, but if you just slow down and calm down, those 1,000,000,000 may have stingers, but there's 1,000,000 in the middle of those 1,000,000,000 that don't have stingers. If you could just make it in the middle of those, you'll be all right. Brothers and sisters, you'll be a fool and totally insane to trust me to let 1,000,000,000 bees sting you while 1,000,000 that may not have stingers will have mercy on you. Because we know that a bee sting hurts. It hurts like hell. And I don't think anybody could survive with 1,000,000,000 bee stings. That amount of toxin in you, right, is highly, highly deadly. It's the same thing if you had snakes. Is that right? Somebody said, brother, they standing outside the snake pit now. You down in the middle of it. They said, brother, don't panic. The snake's in the middle of garden snake. And I know you can't see him, but I just want you to trust me. Now he outside the snake pit, and he tell you to go to sleep in the middle of those snakes. And there's a rope above your head that you could grab that may save your life. And the brother's telling you just calm down, don't even take the rope. Again, brothers and sisters, you'd be crazy to not try to get out of that snake pit knowing that snake bites are deadly. Knowing that they're deadly. So it's like that with the white man. Yeah, all may not be, and I said may not, I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure. They may not be deadly, right? So the only way to secure me in being safe is to stay away from around all of them, unless I absolutely have to deal with them, right? And that's the only thing that's going to safeguard you, is that you just stay away from all of them, unless you just have to deal with them and don't have no choice, unless you just have to deal with them. So that's my advice to you, brothers and sisters. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful, because we just don't know. And you can't blame the black man for being safe, wanting to be safe from the white man. That's why I don't understand Louis Farrakhan. I don't understand Minister Farrakhan and how he be juggling the good Jews and bad Jews. And he said, I know that Muhammad said that all black men are evil, but not this one. All white men, excuse me. I know Mr. Muhammad said all white men are not devils. All white men are devils, but not this one. And there he go in the picture with Father Flager, right? In other words, he said Mr. Muhammad was wrong. You have to look at that. If he's hanging around a white man, and Mr. Muhammad has already said the white man is the devil today, the devil yesterday, and the devil forevermore, then you got Minister Farrakhan hanging around the white man. His son even married one of those white devils, right? His son Joshua Muhammad married a white devil in the early 80s, a she devil. Minister Farrakhan been friends with Father Flager for about as long. So his father's like the son. He's confused. And there are people that are telling me, well, Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that some whites were making in. They weren't making in with you. There'll be some left as a remnant to make sure that we knew who the devil was and to never let him take control of us ever again. No different than an animal being in the zoo. The only difference is that we will be in power and he will be out of power. He put us in his zoo, and so when that day comes, he'll get a chance to get in our zoo. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was concerned about black separatism, the same thing that our sister Ava Muhammad talked about. She was talking about black separatism, right? Black separatism is a separatist political movement that seeks separate economic and cultural development, not with the white man, away from the white man. Separate for who? For those African descendants, right? And the African descent in societies, particular in the United States. Is that right or wrong? Because you could go to England and you would have to do it there too. But it's here that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad has started these teachings. See? In America, that's why I'm telling you that God is with us here. God done that. The story of the Egyptian bondage is a story that is a physical story, but it's allegorical too, in the sense that it happens for us and happened to us to the very number of the people in Egyptian bondage. The white man was never enslaved. The white man has made himself a Jew and is telling himself a lie that he was in Egyptian bondage. And when Walter Cronkite, a wise he-devil journalist, had asked Yasser Arafat said that there is no history of the white man or the white Jew ever being in Egyptian bondage. You see, the white man wants to be the slave master and want to be the afflicted too. I mean, he don't even have enough sense and enough empathy to let you serve out your time as a slave. And so he said today, I don't even want you talking about African history. And today he's trying to call himself black. The white man's trying to call himself black today, and he's building up a momentum by using Jane Elliott to do such. See, all of these, that's the white woman that's supposed to be able to, the brown eye, blue eye research, right? The brown eye, blue eye experiment. She's supposed to be different from other white people. She's a devil too. She's a devil too. Anybody the white man put in front of you, black or white, you have to understand it's for his devilish purpose. But we seek cultural development. We seek separate economic power. We seek separate political power amongst our people, for black people. Black people and black people alone. The development for those of African descent in societies in the United States. Black separatism, brothers and sisters, stem from the idea of racial solidarity. You know that. And it amplifies that black people, who are black people, us, black people, a racialized classification of people that the white man classified politically by our skin color categorically. The white man made black. He did that. We didn't do it. We didn't do it. He did it. He made us categorically for specific populations, with a mid dark brown complexion, black complexion, caramel complexion, and light complexion, right? And even those that he qualified to be black, which is a racialized classification, all of them didn't have dark skin. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? So we desire that black people should organize on the basis of their common experience and the oppression as a result of their race, culture, and African heritage. There's no such thing, in other words, there's no such thing as a white African. There's no such thing as a white African slave. See what I'm saying? So it has to be all black coffee, no sugar, no cream, just black folks to come together with common experience of oppression and organize amongst ourselves. Descents of the African society, black folks, talk about separatism. This is what Dr. Ava Mama was talking about before she was assassinated. You know, you have to understand this, that there used to be a total of 400 black separatist groups in America in the 1940s. It grew to 600 in the 1960s. In the 1980s, it grew to almost 1,000 black separatist groups. Same way that Africa have different belief systems, right? Different ways of functioning. The same thing was happening to us. We're Africans in America. We're not African American, but we're Africans who were brought and enslaved in what the white man called America. Right? There were other Africans here. They had not been enslaved. They were the fathers of the native African American. But the white man, through war, killed them out and brought the Navajo down here, right? So that he could make them the dominant Indian. You have to see, he integrated all around, right? He used Columbus to integrate sexually and then to kill industrially so that he could put, after 20 years, that level of native, right? A hybrid in America. So when you say the red man today, you look at him, but he's not the red man of the past. And some of them calling themselves red men are literally white men saying that they're red men. But the true red man is so black that he was red. That's the true red man. See, these are different levels of black people globally, right? If you go to Ghana, you see a black man there. You could go to, come to America, you see a black man here. Go to South Africa, you see a black man. So around the planet, there was no difference in the black man. Maybe a difference in his shade, but there was no difference in him, period. You had some that were so black until they were blue. You had some that were so black until they were black. Some so black until they were red, and some so black until they had a yellowish tinge. Yeah. So when they say the brown, red, yellow man, they're talking about that level of black man with those tinges, right? Now, not the white man's understanding what was brown, what was red, and what was yellow, but the true understanding of these different levels of shades of black. So today there are about 255 black separatist groups recorded in the United States of America, and that is as early as 2019, brothers and sisters. Excuse me. So when we say black separatism in the purest aspect, is the blacks should form our own nation. When you say black separatism in the purest form, it asserts that blacks and whites should be separated. Additionally, the separatists, right, often seek to return to their original cultural homeland. Seek to, but see, I'm going to say something toward that. America is our homeland. This is the second Africa, but they don't talk about it. But it's something that you should know, that this is the second Africa. Why would we leave the investment that we made here and go back to Africa with nothing? No, we'll take our investment here and we'll control this and we'll use it to start buying Africa back and getting rid of every black person there that support colonialism. That's nationalism in its purest form. Okay, so we talked about Garvey earlier tonight. If you recall, brothers and sisters, we talked about Marcus Garvey. The sentiment that was spearheaded by Marcus Garvey in the United Negro Improvement Association in the 1920s, brothers and sisters, was black nationalism, black separatism, right? Black separatism generally thinks that black people are hindered by a white-dominated society. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in the cleanest, purest form, told us that we can't survive with this white man being over us. There's no way for us to survive. And you have to understand that. You have to understand it. The white man is the oppressor, is the oppressor, is the oppressor, is the oppressor. And it'll never get any better until you remove him from being your oppressor. We're catching the hell that we're catching now because of the white man. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and thumbs up, brothers and sisters. We certainly can use it. We can use the participation. And we accept every comment that you have, brothers and sisters. Any comment that you have, we accept it. Because this is a lesson that we'll teach together. Because we're touching a real subject when we talk about the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Because God gave him the message. God gave him the message that we would need today. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad had found this knowledge, right, in 1931. And while he was in Detroit, and while his name was Elijah Poole, he began taking part in various black nationalist movements within the city. In August 1931, at the urging of his wife, right, and this is his wife, the urging of his wife, brothers and sisters, that's to let you know how powerful the black woman is in our life. That's to let you know how powerful she is in our life. Lots of time if we will listen, brothers and sisters, to our wives. Sister Clara told him to come to the meeting. Come to this meeting. Brother talking there, you got to hear what he's saying. And in August 1931, at the urging of Sister Clara, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's wife, the Sister Clara, he attended a speech on Islam and the black community. It was an empowerment speech given by Wallace Fard Muhammad, brothers and sisters. And let's just slow down a minute so we can understand who Wallace Fard Muhammad is. Because we'll have to be teaching these things to you so you will know what it is. Why do we use it? For black Christians and black Muslims. This is the beginning of a solid plan for black nationalism. Wallace Dard Fard, also known as Wallace Fard Muhammad or Master Fard Muhammad, right? The founder of the Nation of Islam. He arrived in Detroit in 1930 with an obscure background, right? In other words, they didn't know anything about him. So the white man began to make up lies about it, right? But he came with this message to the black man, right? And afterwards, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that he approached Fard and asked him if he was the Mahdi or the Redeemer. Fard responded that he was, but that his time had not yet come, right? Fard had taught that blacks, as the original Asiatic, had a rich cultural history which was stolen from them in their enslavement. Isn't that right? All the gifts, all the substance that you had, all the mathematical intelligence, all the medical intelligence, and whatnot had been stolen, brothers and sisters, from us when we were enslaved by these devils. When we were enslaved, this stuff had been stolen from us. And so he asked him, he said, Master, are you the Mahdi? Are you the Redeemer? And Fard responded that he was. But this time, right, for him had not yet come. In other words, you can't tell anyone about this. I'm the Redeemer. I'm the one that's going to bring you this message to help you see straight. Because right now you're looking as a slave. And the white man's got you in bondage. He's got you bound. Yes, I'm that one, but the time hasn't come yet for that to be revealed. Doesn't that sound a lot like what Jesus said, brothers and sisters? My time is not now. Isn't that right? So, brothers and sisters, God can speak, will come and reveal himself many times in our life, but we have to be willing to find it. We have to be willing to see it. When we hear the word of God, we have to be willing to identify it, brothers and sisters. This is important for us. So, Master Fard taught the black man as the original Asiatic man that had a rich cultural history, which was stolen from us in enslavement. Master Fard stated that the African American or the black man, that's the term that was used, could regain our freedom through self-independence and cultivation, right? And we cultivate our own culture and civilization. You can't take a man out of his habitat and expect him to respond as he would inside of his habitat. It's almost like taking an animal, I hope you're paying attention to me, brothers and sisters, out of his land, out of his habitat, out of his domain, and putting him in a zoo. Right? With an imitation of his domain. Huh? That's how the black man has been done. We've been caged by this beast. I don't care what city you in. I don't care where you are. We've been brought from Africa, brought from certain areas in America, brought from certain areas below America in other places, even Puerto Rico, and have been pushed together and kept out of our domain and separated so we would be confused. And then the time came where we would understand each other's language. Then the devil said, hold on. He's got to the place where he's able to communicate. Now we got to start enforcing strict punishment. And they beat us, bored us in parts, tore up our skin, and many of them ate us during the harsh winter of, I believe it was 1614, when they organized Jamestown. So, brothers and sisters, we have been through it with this beast. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, having a strong conscience, right, of this racial issue in the South and the North, quickly fell in step with the teachings of Master Fard Muhammad, and soon became an ardent follower of Master Fard Muhammad and joined this movement, as did Mother Clara, his wife, and several brothers. Soon, brothers and sisters, afterward, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was given the Muslim name, first Karim, and later Fard's Behest Muhammad. Right? We said Behest or Behest, we mean Master Fard's last name. So it became the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he assumed leadership of the Nation's Temple No. 2 in Chicago. And his younger brother, Khalat Muhammad, became the leader of the movement self-defense arm, the Fruit of Islam. And thus it began. Fard turned over the leadership of the growing Detroit group to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and Allah's Temple of Islam changed its name to Nation Temple of Islam. So it was the Nation of Islam. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Master Wallace Fard continued to communicate until 1934, when Master Fard had disappeared, so to speak, and transcended to some other area, and Elijah Muhammad succeeded him in Detroit and was named Minister of Islam. After the disappearance, Elijah Muhammad, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, was guided to tell them that Allah had come at Master Fard Muhammad. In other words, he was God in person that had come at Master Fard Muhammad in the flesh to share his teaching and that are the salvation of his followers. And he came with the knowledge to tell us that the white man was indeed the devil. Brothers and sisters, don't you understand that the white man being explained in that way have not changed one iota? Not once. He hasn't changed once. Has not changed once. And so what you and I have to do, brothers and sisters, have to get in line and see the truth of what's going on, right? And reestablish the foundation so that we won't be lost. We have to do that. And so God is teaching you and I, brothers and sisters. He got to the place where he's teaching you and I to rediscover the foundations of what have been taught to deliver and to save our people. And we've gotten wiser today, more wiser than we've ever gotten before, more wiser than we've been before, that we don't have to be separated in this teaching, but we can find some place where we can all come together. And because the word tells us, come, let us reason together. Isn't that right, brother? Isn't that right? To come and let us reason together. And so we have to learn to reason together today. That's what you and I have to do. We have to reason together, and we have to understand what our job is. Our job today is to save the black community with the teachings that have been given to us. This message is to the black man. The message is to the black man. Muhammad's message. And I think I'm going to put that down here. Put that down. Muhammad's message is to the black man. Right? Muhammad's message is to the black man. It's not to the red man, not the white red man. It's not to the white yellow man. It's not to the white Mexican. Isn't that right? Not to the white brown man, but it's to the black man. Right? It's to the black man. And so we feel that for someone to try and train or teach any other person about this message, that they deviated. And this is the reason why we said that Minister Farrakhan has deviated. That's the reason why. Now, brothers and sisters, you have to understand that we, in the course of us building the foundation of nationalism, don't forget to like, subscribe, and a thumbs up, brothers and sisters, please. We could use your participation. Any rude comments, please put it in, as well as respectful comments. We could use that too. But understand that in the course of building this foundation of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we've got to also begin to practice the philosophy. Well, Brothers and sisters, we have internet and have many other things now where we can come together. No matter where we are, we can dwarf down distances with the internet by the click of the phone or click on a computer. Key on the computer, we can certainly talk to one another, can even talk to one another from different countries now with the touch of a button. And what you and I have got to do, we got to get together, use the technology that we have today, and be able to increase in the knowledge, right, of salvation for the black man in America and the black man around the world. But first, we need to get the black man in America in shape. We got to get him in shape. And while we're getting him in shape, then we can allow the black man globally to look at our lessons and be able to tap into our teachings and things of that nature. But one thing we have to be decided on, and that's the fact that Muhammad has the true message and he has the true teaching. And it has to be the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It can't be somebody teaching what they want to teach, but it has to be the message to the black man as it relates to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. God has called you and I, brothers and sisters, to be active in this time to be able to do such. He's called you and I. And the reason why you and I have to be active in time to do such, I want you to understand that they're killing brothers and sisters that are out speaking the truth. And there's so few of them out speaking the truth and so few organizing until when these brothers and sisters die abruptly, we just see it as another death. We don't look into it. But if we were trained with the teaching of Muhammad, we would be studying every incident that happened. Anything that happened under our watch, we'll be paying attention to it because we know that he's taught us to watch as well as pray. And he even read the book of knowledge that Jesus, even when Jesus was praying, he said, "Canst thou watch for me 1 hour?" He said, watch as well as pray. Isn't that right? So we know that we're getting the correct teachings. No matter how much the man is messed with the manuscript, the spirit within us that is turned toward God and tuned into God will ever find the truth, because the word says, my people know the sound of my voice. My people know my teachings. Isn't that right? And so he gave to us, God did, gave to us the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who gave us the message of Master Fard Muhammad to tell us as black people to rise up from the tombs that we're in, to rise up from the physical tombs, the religious tombs, the social tombs that was created by the white man, the psychological tomb, the biological tombs that were created by the white man, and come forth. Isn't that right? Come forth and be raised from a dead level to a live one, that we'll be able to hear the words of truth, hear the words of our salvation, and rise up to do the will of God. And what is God's will? That we will spread the word and the teaching and go and heal men by raising them from death to life. Isn't that right? So God has a plan, brothers and sisters. God has a plan. And all you have to do is listen to that plan. You don't have to listen to the white man. You don't have to follow the white man. You don't have to have fear of the white man. I don't care what obstacles you have to come in front of you. All you have to do is continue to fight, and pull the strength of God. Isn't that right? Because he has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love, of power, and a sound mind. Isn't that right? Love, power, and a sound mind. Isn't that right? God has given us that. He hasn't given us a spirit of fear. And if we listen to the knowledge that God has given us, and we follow the teachings and the training of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we won't be slipping around calling this white man our friend, like Farrakhan is, brothers and sisters. What will we look like? What does he look like? Once been an Elijah Muslim telling Father Flago, I love you too, at the funeral of a sister that had passed, that was poisoned by this devil. Isn't that right? That was poisoned from a white mind through black hands and have left us abruptly. We wouldn't be telling that devil that we love him. We would have an investigation going on into the death of our sister. Is that right or wrong? So we've got to be wise. We got to be steadfast. We got to be unmovable, brothers and sisters, always abounding in the work. What work is that? The work that God has set before us to raise up the drug addict, to raise up the prostitute, to raise up the sexual deviant. Isn't that right? To raise up the thief, to raise up the murderer, right? God didn't call you to be a murderer or a thief or a drug dealer or a pimp. That's not God's business. That's the white man's business. It's the white man that put you into drugs. It's the white man that gave you alcohol. That's a government seal on drugs and alcohol today. It's the white man that put you on the streets. It's the white man that's got you gigoloing and prostituting yourself. The white man did that. You didn't do it. The white man did it. It's the white man that did it. He did it on the plantation just like he's doing it today. And he made you able to do it, and then he arrested you for it. He did the same thing on the plantation. He had you working as prostitutes and pimps and drug addicts, and after that, he punished you for it by beating you with the whip. And that's the reason why we call him the crack of the day. Is that right or wrong? And so, brothers and sisters, we've got to learn better so that we can do better. And we've got to teach our children. With this knowledge that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad has, we can raise our children from death to life, brothers and sisters. We can literally raise our children from death to life. We can do it. God has given us the power to do it if we'll only actualize the power and the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad that was given to him by Master Fard Muhammad. And I believe that all things good come from God. So nothing that could not have come from the devil, but it came from God. And so, brothers and sisters, we are being called out today. You and I are being called out to do the work, of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. What is it that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teach? Brothers and sisters, we've got to know. We got to know just the foundation of it all. The foundation, the written works. And these are books that you can get. We can help you get these books. For those that would like to know, these are supreme books for teaching. You have the Muslim Daily Prayers, written in 1957. You have the Supreme Wisdom, Volume 1 and 2, written in 1957. You have the Message to the Black Man, the most cherished work of every black Muslim, that was written in 1965. You have How to Eat to Live, written in 1967. You have How to Eat to Live, Volume 2, that was written in 1972. You have The Fall of America, which was written in 1973, and we're experiencing that right now already. The Fall of America. You have Our Savior Has Arrived in 1974, and the final book, The Flag of Islam, 1974. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, on January the 30th, 1975, after doing these teachings, right? After the contribution of his stores, isn't that right? After the leadership of the Nation of Islam, where he took control of Temple Number 1. After all of these things that he did, building up black businesses, right? All across the nation, every place that there was a Nation of Islam mosque or temple, and all the stores and businesses and banks that he built up. After all of this work, after him preaching to the Nation of Islam goal to all of this work, by 1970, the Nation of Islam owned bakeries, it owned barbershops, it owned coffee shops, grocery stores, laundromats, nightclubs, printing plant, retail stores, numerous real estate holdings, and a fleet of tractor trailers. The trucks gave men jobs, plus farmland in Michigan, Alabama, and Georgia. And in 1972, brothers and sisters, the Nation of Islam took control interest in a bank, the Guarantee Bank and Trust Company. Nation of Islam, brothers and sisters, owned schools, expanded until by 1974, the group had established 47 cities, right? Schools in 47 cities throughout the United States. In 1972, brothers and sisters, Muhammad told followers that the Nation of Islam had a net worth of $17 million. Right? He continued this work, brothers and sisters, through writing and manuscript to help black brothers and sisters learn how to mimic this, right? And on January the 1930th, January the 30th, 1975, Muhammad entered Mercy Hospital in Chicago, Illinois, suffering from a combination of heart disease, diabetes, bronchitis, and asthma. And he died there with congestive heart failure nearly 1 month later at the age of 77 years of age. February the 25th, 1975, the day before Savior's Day. The day before Savior's Day. We believe, brothers and sisters, he was poisoned with the cortisone treatment. And if you see anybody with any medical knowledge, see this collective amount of problems. Collective amount of problems. Right? And the statement of congestive heart failure would know that something's wrong. Medically, that something was wrong. This is called something being medically induced, brothers and sisters. By February 25th, 1975, the day before Savior's Day, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad had ascended. He was survived by many children, including 2 daughters, 6 sons by his wife, and more notably, the future leader, Warif Deen Muhammad, who was one of the traitors who betrayed him along with Minister Farrakhan and John Ali and some of his own family members. Betrayed the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and caused the rift and the fall of the Nation of Islam, because by the time it was put in Wallace Warif Deen Muhammad's hand, he changed the whole script, and it was literally to destroy the Nation of Islam. And I want you to know that this is very important. So tonight, with so much respect for the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, with so much respect, I don't even acknowledge the hecklers tonight. Not tonight. This is about the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I can't even stop to respond to any ignorant statements tonight. What I would say is that if we'll get back to the teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, if we can get back to the teachings and understand the message to the black man and get that message in our minds, brothers and sisters, and get it in our heart, we'll be able to transform the black community. We won't be around here like fools and idiots begging this white man for a job. We won't have to do that. You can contract with us, but we won't beg you for anything. You're welcome to contract with us. We'll contract our services out to you, but we won't beg you for anything. You see? Because contracting means that you have the ability to send your own service forth, brothers and sisters. Send your service forth and be paid the dollar amount that you would like to be paid. Don't forget to thumbs up, like, and subscribe, brothers and sisters. We certainly can use the participation. And brothers and sisters, please, we could use any donation that you could give us. Any donation that you can give us, so that we will be able to continue to do our work, to bring these things to light, to keep teachings abroad. And with your help, we look forward to having a successful temple up, so that we'll be able to teach our brothers and sisters, feed the homeless, clothe the naked. We're doing it now, but it'd be better to be able to do it and have the funds and not have to turn certain people away because we can't feed them, because of the awesome amount of people that come before us. We can't give them the mental health that they need because the amount of people that come before us is more than we have to offer. And so my desire and my prayer, brothers and sisters, my desire and my prayer is that we would be in a place where we're able to serve our brothers and sisters that are homeless, brothers and sisters that are hungry, keep our program for the children, that we'll be able to feed them twice a day, that we'll be able to do everything necessary to upkeep them. We have winter coming. The summer has come and gone, but the winter is coming, brothers and sisters. And with this winter coming, our brothers and sisters are going to need some help. The children are going to need some help. A lot of their families are on drugs. A lot of their families are on drugs, and the children are not eating. They're bartering the food stamps, bartering everything else they have. Many of them don't have jobs, so the family's in trouble and the children's in trouble. We would like to be in a situation where we're able to help these individuals, and that is our job. And we bring them to the knowledge of the teachings, and they'll be able to turn themselves around, which will awaken them, so they'll be able to do the work that Muhammad has set in his blueprint, and we'll be able to mimic these things all throughout the Black community. This is our desire, and this is our prayer, brothers and sisters. And I want to thank you very much for listening to this program, and I pray that God will continue to minister to you and be with you. That's my desire and my prayer, because God is the only one that can minister to you and give you the conviction that you should have. We'll merely give you the message of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, but only God can deliver you. Only God can give you what you need. Only God can do that. And so our desire and our prayer is that you would have that. Our desire and our prayer is that you would keep this conviction and allow the conviction to mold you, because it has to mold you so that you can do the work. There's no way that you can do the work without having the conviction of God, because it says, by love, all men shall know that you are my disciple. And it's only with the love of God, right, that men will know that you and I are the disciples of God. It's only through the love of God. And so my desire, my prayer is that you would have God's love. I did say it in the beginning, brothers and sisters. I said, peace be unto you. Peace that pass beyond all understanding. I'm going to type that in. Peace be unto you. And peace be unto us all. That's my desire, is that you would have peace. Because that's the one thing that we need. We need peace. And I say unto you, Assalamu alaikum. That's in the natural tongue. Right? That's in our natural tongue. English is not our language. English is not our language, brothers and sisters. We're speaking the age-old language. Isn't that right? A language that was given to us from God. That is our language. And we speak this age-old language, right? We speak it here and we speak it abroad because we expect that God will lead us. And we are the people of God. We're the sheep of his pasture. We expect that he will lead us, right? God will give us the perfect leadership, the perfect teaching that will allow us to be able to resurrect someone else in these last and evil days. And brothers and sisters, I'm sure you can remember, right? I'm sure you would recall that all the things that the white man put before us shows us the amount of danger that we're in. They're walking in the grocery store, shooting us. They're killing our leaders. Isn't that right? We're in danger every place we go. There's no other place to turn but God. No other place to turn but God. No other teaching that will save us but the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So brothers and sisters, I say unto you, peace. Peace be unto you. If I didn't say it in the beginning, I say it now. Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be unto you.